Hey, it's Shannon from audioenergy.com. Today we're looking at a bit of spaciousness in your mix and how dynamic range works from my last video. So stick around. Okay, so welcome back. Today I'm going to show you one of my mixes, but before I go into that, I recently put up a video just yesterday or the day before, and it was a new approach I wanted to take to analysing some mixes and so forth, but unfortunately YouTube won't let me monetize because I'm using sort of like 10 seconds of somebody else's video, music. So rather than put up claims because it's on educational purposes and so forth, I should be allowed to do it. I'm actually going to maybe look at putting that directly on my website soon. So stick around for that information. I'll give you a bit more updates later when I get things rolling. However, today we're going to be looking at, I thought I'd do a new video to replace that, and today I'm going to be looking at one of my mixes. I did this mix basically for the purposes of, it could be used in a section of film, like an action TV series film. It could be used for advertising. It could be used for all sorts of things. It's quite interesting. So I'm going to play a portion of it. It's going to run through, and it sounds a little bit like this. Okay, so that's the mix there. Like I said, it was mainly sort of, there's a few ideas I had. That's why it kind of sounds like it breaks up, but it's not very long. So I was just having a bit of a play around with some instruments and things as well. So why don't we go in now and have a look at the Pro Tools session. I'm going to bring that up here. All right. So as usual, what I've done is break up my instruments. And in this one, I essentially have two drum kits. First of all, these ones I've turned down here because they're not being used. They're just some toms within that mix. So I have my drum tracks, and as the I'm using Easy Drummer, just the basic kit. And on the second one, I'm using Battery 4, and I've loaded up a kit for that, and just tweak some of the sounds and change some of the sounds around as well. Okay, so I actually have two kits running. Then I have my, I'll just turn these on. Then I have my reverb for my first kit, and I have the sub channel. On the sub channel, I have my Slate tools. It's a mix bus there, a little bit of EQ and a bit of lift. On the actual channel, say for the kick, I have an EQ, and I've just given a little bit of boost on the EQ there, and just cut out some of the extra frequencies I don't want. Right up at this range, there's really not a lot being used. So I kind of rolled that off a little early. Let's see, it's roll off around 6K there. I also have put on the Moo compressor. This is just a compressor. It's a bit of an aggressive head. What do we got here? So it's the input, so it's probably at 2.9. The threshold is way down in -25. This is just one of their presets. I thought I'd check it on to see how it sounded. And the makeup gain is 3.2 dB. Attack is pretty moderate. It's got a high pass filter on it. Okay, and the release is quite slow. This is very similar to the setup of the 1176 compressor. So the harder you drive it to the right, the faster it is. Yeah. Okay, so that's the compressor I have on there, and that's just for my my kick track here. Then I have my two snares, top and bottom. I've just EQ'd these a little bit, just very basically to get some of the stuff out that I didn't want. Yeah, just nice, simple EQing. I'm running buses to my reverb, and the reverb I'm using is this brand new Slate tool. It's come out, it's called Verb Suite. This is a beautiful reverb. So if you're looking at Slate tools, get Slate tools. The pack is cheap as, and you get everything there. It's so worth it. I actually just did a commercial the other day for a friend of mine who runs a store. I did all the drums and the guitars and everything, as you can see behind me. So I did everything, set it all up, and I ran it through some Slate stuff. And he goes, "Oh, those drums and guitars just sound amazing." I said, "Yeah, they do." Plus, it's also getting some good EQ and everything on that. So, well worth looking at. But I also EQ'd it and just roll it right off on the verb. So a lot of this down here is just, I don't want that being in. I don't want it, it's kind of a waste. I only want this area coming off. And what that does is refine the sound coming through your reverb that you want, and it's focusing on that. And it's just a little technique I've learned from some other masters in the recording industry world. So the next one is my electrical kit. Again, I've done the same thing. I've got a beat submix. Also have it's my wob delay thing. So I put a delay on that. Now the wob is actually a note within battery 4. I'm not quite sure which one it is. It's one of these little ones in here. I'm not quite sure. Might be the bass step. And you'll hear that. It's actually in the midsection where it goes wob, wob, wob. And so what I basically did is a few techniques I'll show you shortly on how to get that real spaciousness. As we move along, I've got the bass. I just used Vacuum for this. Vacuum has some great bass sort of sounds and techniques and things. Just EQ'd it as well. Now you probably notice I have EQ here afterward, and on the other one I had EQ at the beginning. Basically, the reason is that we have the VST here. Basically, we have the engine creating the sound, and then we have to fix the sound. Whereas back here, such on this one, we had the sound was already there and it was channeling through, so it was going through our EQ and then through our verb. So that's why it seems a little bit different there. It's not because one sort of works better than the other. It's just that's the way it kind of has to be. If you have an engine before your EQ before your engine, you're not EQing anything. This is the chain, so you follow your chain. Okay. Okay. You'll also notice too the kick, snare, top and bottom, I have running right up the center, as we've discussed, and you probably already know. Hi-hats far left and right. You can pan that, really all the way to sort of 2 o'clock over here. It's up to you. It's up to you. This is an instrument channel, so it's always working on stereo. What else do we have there that's relatively interesting? Overheads, left and right, there's far room, far left, right, why not? If I was using more toms, obviously these toms and things would probably, I'd set them about there, or you could set them here, and if that's the second tom, you could set them over there. Just have a listen and work through and see how you go. You could even put them further up. It's completely up to you. Just make sure that they're within the range of what a drum kit would sound like. Okay. Now, you probably hear a lot of people talk about, in your mix, you want to hear the sound as it would sound on stage. And that's true to a point, especially with your drums and things, because if you're listening in earphones, if you're listening on a stereo, that sound's coming back to you through those two speakers or even 5.1. But what you really want, you don't want to have You don't want to always have a mix where your guitars are always to the left and you've got another instrument over here to the right. It just doesn't sound quite right, I think. If you're always putting an instrument over here and you're always putting an instrument over there, just pan them out. Put one here. If you've got guitars here, then maybe duplicate the channel and put them over here as well, the equal opposite side, and that way it's got a little bit of space, and you're really spanning them out. If you have everything always just drums are here, like it's played out on a stage, it's not always going to sound. You're not always going to have the best mix. Okay, so it's not. I don't think it sounds too good when it's always like that. I mean, it can be used for some, especially mainly if you're using a live mix. If you have a live mix that you've recorded with a live group of people, yeah, absolutely, pan, and you're putting it to video as well, definitely you would pan to where that instrument is. But in a studio mix, you don't always have to put something over here and something over there and something over here. You can place it originally in the mix, but when it's running through your buses and that later, you want to pan your buses, especially with the mix here. So, and same with, this is a bass. Up the middle, bass up the middle. I've done this one here just to get some on the sides, because later I can press on the sides as well. Okay. What I have next is my Evolve. Okay, and what I've done is I've multi-tracked this, as you'll see. Here's Heaviosity Evolve, and I got one sound going to track 1, next one going to track 2. For some reason I wouldn't go track 2. It's just the way that they set it up in here. So anyway, I have the reso pedal, I have the tritonal blips, just some different sounds going, okay? And so for instance, let's see if I can go to the mix here. If I look at my Evolve channels, I'll come back over here. So here's one Evolve channel. Bring this up, and I'm just going to solo this. Okay. That's my glitch sound. I don't know if you probably can't hear that in the mic. Once these other ones start playing, okay, I'll unsolo that one, I'll go to this one. And we'll play them. And so that's a bit of a loop. Okay. Then I can go down here. And so they're just different sounds and things, I can go to this one. That's song number 4. And that's, I don't know if you can hear that, but they are, there we go. So that's how it's sounding at the moment, and that's the kind of instruments I've got going there. I've run all them through a specific bus, so I worked on them individually, and then ran them through a bus again. So this time I've got my virtual mix bus. I've got something to give a bit of the higher end, a bit of a boost. Just done some EQ. I've made the Q very narrow so I can really pinpoint the frequencies I don't want and to cut them out and reduce them. I've got my revival here, and that just kind of thickens things up. It's a tool you don't really notice that much. You probably notice the thickness, but you don't notice the shimmer that much until you maybe usually add something else with it, and then it can really brighten it up. So that's my bus for that. These last ones, what I've done in, I've actually put different engines in each one. So I have reactor, and I just did rounds, and then just what I do is I go in and tweak the sound. I have absinthe, again, pick out a sound, go play with it a little bit. I think I left that one pretty much normal. Then I EQ it. FM8, again, get the sound, go into here, I can morph it around a little bit, I can change some of the levels and so forth. EQ, so basically I've got those 3 running into a bus here. Which one am I putting on? So, okay, bus 1, 2. Yep. So my FM8, which is the little little tick-tock noise that you hear, especially in the break period, I've run that through by EQ. What did I use for that? So we have a dense plate, 7-second delay. That's quite a big delay. You also have the plate there. I believe that would be here. This is the pre-delay, 13.5 seconds. I'm guessing. And I've just run that patch there, so you can go to your patchwork and go miscellaneous. Okay, try that and just have a play with it. Then you can also, let's see, load device. You can also go into here and load lots of other presets and things as well. I don't normally play with presets, but with this one, I usually get my own sound, but this one I just wanted to see how it would sound. I was having a bit of a play around. I just wanted to see what this this new one could really do, this Verb Classic, and it's really beautiful. It's amazing. And then finally I've just put Massive on and just had a bit of a tweak, just loaded that one up, gave it a tweak, changed a few things, just put some more of this on it, so you can spread it around and so forth. Yeah, and we basically get what we have there. So let's see if I can, what have you? Then I have my final submix here for all the instruments going through this. And again, I've got a compressor this time. I've just given everything a bit of compression, lifting up the higher end, making some cuts, and my bus as well. So I think that's everything that was on there. So as you can see, I've kind of segmented everything where it needs to be. I always kind of follow this thing. I always have drums, bass, drums, digital, whatever, bass. Usually I'll put some, these are all just other instruments. If I have other guitars and things, I'll usually probably put guitars, then any keyboards, then the more you move away from the more common instruments, I sort of tend to put them down further to the right, basically because I know where everything, if I follow that pattern, I know where everything always is. I know my drums are always up there, and I know where everything's going. Ultimately, we have our master channel, and then I have a submix channel. The reason I use a submix channel is because I can actually bring everything under control. I can control the output before it goes. Like sometimes I put this on and just put it down 3 dB, so I've got the mix in when it comes out here. If we play it. I'll just play it through so we can have a listen to it while it's going. There we are. So you should still be able to hear my voice. I'm speaking a little louder. As we're playing through, you can see the bass and all that sort of thing there. Let's have a look. And I'll take that off. That's it. So you probably weren't really hearing all that beginning part, but that's all right. And here's our contour reactor and everything playing. And this is my submix. So I'm keeping my submix running around -15, -12. These instruments pretty much are in the same area. I'm giving myself that sort of 15 dB headroom, on all the instruments. Then what I've done here, you can hear that echoing and that really nice effect. Okay, so you can see what's going on there for a moment. Actually, I'll play that again. You'll probably notice we're getting up a little bit high. So this is starting to run pretty high. This is up around sort of averaging between 18 and say 9. So I put this 3 dB on it, this bit of gain cut, bring it down, and you'll notice out here it's averaging around 15, average. So it's just controlling that output a little bit. So I have it runs a little bit hotter here, and I can control the output there. So when it runs down, it's actually coming around here for my master. But all these instruments are running through, and then I set up, they bypass these two and go into my parallel compression, okay? Now I don't always do this, but on the drums I usually do, and drums and bass I usually do. Anything that goes up the center, I'll have the clean channel and my compressed channel. You bring your compressed channel down a little bit, pan it hard left to right, and I run the clean channel straight up the center. So you're essentially sending a signal to the far left and right, and that's being compressed, and the sound at the center, which is natural and clear and not compressed, is coming through. So it sort of sits at the front there, and it's always going to be quite well balanced. So I basically have my drums, my beats, my bass channel, my evolved instruments, my synths, and all my reverb. I have clean and compression, and it goes from there. So all of these, once they're all done, all of these channel back into my submix. I can control this however I want. I might even put a tape machine on there, or I can put in a new, I would put in a new audio channel by doing this, Control N. If I want to, I could put in a stereo audio track, and there's my audio track, and I can actually put my tape machine on here, a little compressor, and when I run everything through here, I hit record it out, you know, and then it's coming out. I'll probably move my limiter over here or onto my submix, and just control everything. And then you basically have a printed instrument track of everything you have, and it runs nicely, but I'm not going to put that in today. So anyway, I hope that's helped, showing you a few different pointers and things that I do, and the way that I look at things. The mix is a great mix. You can actually hear the whole thing on Song Trader if you want to go to Song Trader and then look up Superstring Shaman. That's my performer name. Or you can try Audio Energy on Song Trader as well. And that should bring up some of my mixes. I'm looking at doing some more mixes over the coming weeks as well. I want to get done on some work because there's some opportunities that have come up there. So anyway, all the best. I hope this has been really helpful, and I'll see you real soon.